It's Monday, and that means one thing, brothers. It's time to delve in that wet, watery hole again. We're going to be talking some rumours. We're going to be talking apparently some 11th edition leaks that are coming from another channel, which I've been bombarded with. I want to talk a little bit more about Wazdakka. The boy is coming, right? The big green boy and his bike, his Gretchen. Everything's about to happen with that. Hopefully today, this may be one of two videos. We'll see. And also, I want to talk about some questions that I keep getting bombarded with about Space Marine refreshes going forward in 11th as well. So let's jump in and let's get waffling. So let's start with the 11th edition leaks, and this is coming from a friend of mine, Mordy and Gloria. I'll link to his page and stuff in the description of my video in case you want to go and watch over his videos and stuff that he just pointed out. Everyone's been bombarding me with this. Hey, Valrak, have you seen these 11th edition leaks? Yeah, I have seen them. I've actually talked about most of the stuff he's talked about before over on this channel. There's one thing I haven't talked about, and that's the Gretchen stuff in terms of rules. And what he was saying is that the Gretchen inside of the box set, they're going to be coming in a squad of 10. There's no runt herder in there, which again is something I've heard on my channel. I heard firstly there was a runt herder, but from another rumor source I heard no, there's no runt herder. There's just 10 Gretchen in there. Technically, there's 11 Gretchen inside the 11th edition starter box set. Just one of the Gretchens is an assistant to the Pain Boy, but there's going to be a squad of 10 Gretchen in there. Again, that assistant doesn't count in that, but no runt herder a part of that 11th edition box set. Now, his source has added more mix to that and said, apparently in terms of rule sets, the Gretchen are going to be split into 5-man squads. Again, I don't really know the implications in that in terms of rules. I'm sure a lot of people who watch my channel know me for not really caring about the rules that much. When it comes to Warhammer 40,000 rules, I find it the least fun part of Warhammer 40,000. It's the most boring part of it. The game itself, this edition anyway, has been one of the most boring editions I've ever bloody played. So when it comes to the rules, I kind of not focus on that and just focus on like, oh, look at these models. They're nice. They're awesome. Hopefully this is going to be amazing because this model is going to be around for 20 plus years when the rules will probably change a month after the bloody thing comes out. So yeah, that's how GW works. So I normally focus on the models. Now, when it comes to the rules, 5-man groups, apparently there's been a lot of kickback about this. What does that mean going forward? Are we going to start getting less for more when they eventually go out as individual models? Are they going to start selling Gretchen in squads of 5 rather than 10? Absolutely zero idea. What I will say, if they start to split up Gretchen in squads of 5 and start selling you them in squads of 5, then GW has lost the plot. It's lost its absolute bloody marbles when it comes to it. Again, rules can change anytime, but in terms of boxes and how they produce that doesn't change. So hopefully we're going to get 10 Gretchen inside of a box. The thing that we've been seeing with Games Workshop more and more is that you're getting less for more. The sanguinary guard, like the whole number 3 of like elite guard stuff, like the head takers, the 8-bound, the sanguinary guard, etc. Right? They put all that down to 3. You're paying more for the box, but you're getting less inside of those boxes, which I absolutely hate. So hopefully the Gretchen won't go down in terms of box size, and it's just like a rule thing, which again hopefully will change in the future. Now, the other thing he spoke about on his stream and in his video that he uploaded was about the back-end compatibility of 11th edition to the current edition, 10th edition. Again, we've spoken about this on my channel. What I heard months ago is that apparently 11th edition is going to be back-end compatible to 10th edition, which means the codexes that you have right now in 10th edition will still work in 11th edition until you get a new codex in that edition, which in argument is a pretty decent thing because a lot of people got their codexes towards the end of 9th and they didn't work going forward in 10th, and a lot of people are like, well, I only got like a couple of months of my codex. That wasn't really fair. Whereas some people are like, well, you know, I want a new codex, and right, I want it to be refreshed and stuff. It really depends how you look at this, which side of the coin you really flipping, you really land on. What I will say is, if this does turn out to be true, then the bad thing for me is I haven't really enjoyed 10th edition, this edition. I know there's a lot of people that have absolutely loved 10th edition, and I'm so happy that you have absolutely enjoyed this edition. I'm going back to like 8th edition when I really enjoyed myself, and I hopefully to go back to those times. That's where I had the great times, right? And ever since 8th edition, it's slowly like just got a lot boring for me, like lack of war gear, lack of personality when it comes to like fielding Space Marines and stuff like that, because of course I'm a massive Space Marine fanboy. Everything in 10th edition seems so bland and the same. That's my big problem with it. So if it is going to be back-end compatible, to me, and as Mordin stated in his video and his stream, it's basically looking like it's not really going to be 11th edition. It is, but it's not. It's more or less going to be like kind of 10.5, like halfway to 11th edition. There's some more rumors that I've heard, which again we've spoken about on this channel, that apparently they're going to like be changing how the potential game works with objectives. I've heard that there's going to be like scenery objectives being brought back to the game, like blown up vehicles and stuff like that, which sounds absolutely bloody amazing, because one of the big criticisms that I had is how the actual game looks when you like play a proper game. It's so uninspiring when you compare it to other game systems like Bolt Action and, well, I'll say Conflict 47, they're kind of the same. But like they make like these epic scenery battlegrounds where you fight over like proper battlefields, and you normally find in 40k it's a bunch of L-shaped terrain. Of course, it's all down to the player and like how they make it and stuff. You get some great channels and some great people who make bat reps where they actually bring the battlefield to life and they try and work it into that system. But normally you find like a normal 40k game is really set out like just a mirror, and it's very, very boring, again, in my opinion. So hopefully the terrain stuff will add more flavor, add more fruit to the actual battlefield, and maybe we'll see even more changes on top of that. And let's push on and let's talk about the big green boy himself, Wazdakka. By now, we've heard the rumours, we've heard the theories, we've seen the teases officially from Games Workshop. Wazdakka is going to be hitting. Apparently, the rumour is he's going to be attached to the last big narrative book right before 11th edition, which features around Armageddon. His opposite apparently is going to be Yarrick. Hopefully today we get to see something really, really amazing. Games Workshop did say something really, really cool is about to be shown off. I don't know what that is. Is it going to be Wazdakka? Is it going to be Yarrick? Is it going to be something for AOS for their 5-player fanbase? I have absolutely zero idea, but hopefully it is Wazdakka. A lot of people have said to me, but is Wazdakka a part of Armageddon? Well, yes, he is. Wazdakka, for the last couple of editions, has been heading to Armageddon. I'll put the image in the background right now. I said this on stream last night. Wazdakka has got closer to Terra than Ghazghkull has ever been closer to Terra. Wazdakka's War has literally crossed like the top of the Sol system, and he's currently heading towards Armageddon. I theorize that maybe Wazdakka is looking to challenge Ghazghkull as like the supreme leader or the supreme orc warlord of all the orcs. What if these two big warlords meet on Armageddon? They're not going to like, okay, you take this half, you take that half. That's not the orc way. They're going to want to clash heads, and they're going to take all of it. So maybe we're going to get some orc fighting on Armageddon as well if Ghazghkull's heading there. The reason why I think Ghazghkull's heading there is because, of course, the rumour of the 11th edition box set is that Goths are going to be painted on the front of it, and Blood Angels are going to be painted on the front of it for the Marines. So if the Goths are arriving, then surely Ghazghkull is going to be following or around the vicinity of Armageddon. Armageddon with orcs without Ghazghkull, it just doesn't really make sense to me. So hopefully we'll get to see something cool like that with these two orcs smashing into each other and the Imperium's just in the middle like, oh boy, this is not gonna be fun. So yeah, fingers crossed we get to see something cool today for Wazdakka. But if not, do not blame me. Maybe it's Solomon Akira after, the Black Library Celebration week has completely finished, because that is completely 100% logical coming from Games Workshop. Couldn't run a piss up in a brewery. And just towards the end of the video, I just want to address some of the things about the Space Marines, because again, when we've been talking about Space Marines and like the refresh ideas, I get a bunch of questions attached to this. One of the main questions is about Space Marine vehicles. Yes, that new Land Speeder, Storm Speeder is going to be a part of this 11th edition launch box set, this new variant. I have absolutely no idea what it looks like or what it's actually called. I'm just calling it Land Speeder / Storm Speeder because this is where GW have been going with their latest speeder releases. Now, the other thing I've been asked about is, what about track-based vehicles? What's happening with track-based vehicles? Which is a great question as well. I've heard rumours that they are refreshing track-based Space Marine vehicles. When I say track-based Space Marine vehicles, I'm talking about the Rhino. I'm talking about the Land Raider. How are they going to refresh them? I have absolutely zero idea at this point. If I was to take a guess, I'm just going to say they're going to redesign the kit so it looks a little bit better in scale, maybe, and it goes together better outside of the box. Currently, if you build like a Land Raider, an old school Rhino, they're a bit of a mess to put together. Anyone who's built them, I built a couple of Horus Heresy Land Raiders, and I built some 40k Land Raiders, and the difference is night and day how they go together. So hopefully they'll redesign the kit so it goes together better, and maybe we'll start to get other stuff then off that, because if they redesign the Rhino, there's a lot of stuff that uses the Rhino chassis. You've got the Predator tank, you've got the Razorback, etc., right? The Vindicator. Maybe all these will start to get refreshed going forward for the Space Marines. What Games Workshop loves to do, for people who don't know, is to resell you your Space Marine units. We've had like 5 iterations of Space Marine refreshes in the last 10 years. Horus Heresy, right? Primaris Marines, rescaled Horus Heresy, more Primaris Marines, you know, like Primaris Marines with firstborn stuff attached to them. It's again and again and again and again and again. They love to resell you Space Marine stuff. So 100% they are going to redesign the Space Marine track vehicles. They're not going to fade them out. They're not going to do anything like that. They are going to be around all the time if you enjoy Space Marine content, so don't worry about that. Anyway, that's enough waffling for me. Thanks for coming, thanks for watching. Hopefully, I'll be back this afternoon with some Wazdakka, Yarrick, maybe even some bigger announcements for Warhammer 40,000. Absolutely no idea. I wonder if they're going to announce Adepticon. That could be a thing, a really, really cool announcement. Adepticon's coming, because they haven't yet announced Adepticon yet, which is literally happening in 9 days. So, I have no idea what in the Emperor's name is going on. Anyway, thanks for coming, thanks for watching, see you in a bit. Have a great day, evening, night, wherever around the world, and bye-bye.